Dear students, hope all of you doing well. In labor economics, our next topic is measuring joblessness and unemployment. Learning outcomes. After this lecture, you will be able to understand household survey about labor market and the definition of employed, unemployed, not in labor force, unemployment rate, labor force participation rate. Measuring joblessness. One aspect of economic performance is how well an economy uses its resources. Because an economy's workers are its chief resource, keeping workers employed is a paramount concern of economic policymakers. The employment rate is the statistic that measures the percentage of those people wanting to work who do not have jobs. Every month, the US Bureau of Labor Statistics, that is BLS, computes the unemployment rate and many other statistics that economists and policymakers use to monitor development in the labor market. What is household survey? The unemployment rate comes from a survey of about 60,000 households called the Current Population Survey, based on the responses to survey questionnaires. Each adult age 16 and older in each household is placed into one of three categories. These categories are employed, unemployed, and not in labor force. First, we define what is unemployment. Unemployment is defined by the Bureau of Labor Statistics as people who do not have a job but have actively looked for work in the past 4 weeks and are currently available for work. Also, people who were temporarily laid off and were waiting to be called back to that job are included in the unemployment statistics. Employed. Who is employed? Employed is anyone 16 or older who worked any hours during the past week. That is, according to the BLS, Bureau of Labor Statistics, they can be paid employees or self-employed. They can be unpaid workers in a family-owned business as long as they work at least 15 hours a week. Simply we can say that a person is employed if he or she work part-time, full-time, or work in the last week, or doing his or her own business, or unpaid work his or her in their family business is the employed according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics. Our next category is the unemployed. Unemployed according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics who do not fall in the above category by the Bureau of Labor Statistics as people who do not have job, have actively looked for work in the past 4 weeks and are currently available for work. Also, people who were temporarily laid off and were waiting to be called back to that job are including the unemployed category. Not in labor force. Our third category is the not in labor force. Who is not in labor force? A person who are neither employed nor unemployed. That is, they are both not included in the above two categories, are not in the labor force. The category include retired persons, full-time students, those taking care of children or other family members, and others who are neither working nor seeking work. See also labor force and discouraged workers. So what is labor force? Now we define the labor force. Labor force is the sum of employed plus unemployed. Simply you can say that labor force, the sum of employed plus unemployed is called the labor force. Mathematically, labor force is equal to employed plus unemployed. Unemployment rate. Unemployment rate is defined as the percentage of labor force that is employed. The percentage of labor force that is unemployed. Mathematically, the formula for the unemployment rate is equal to number of employed persons divided by labor force multiplied by 100. In order to convert into the percentage, we must multiply 100 in percentage form. The labor force is the sum of employed and unemployed by dividing the number of individuals who are unemployed by the labor force. You will find the unemployment rate. Labor force participation rate. The labor force participation rate is a measure of an economy's active workforce. The formula for the number is the sum of all workers who are employed or actively seeking employment divided by the total non-institutionalized civilian working age population. Simply we can say that labor force participation rate is equal to labor force divided by working age population multiplied by 100. This is also a definition, mathematical definition. Labor force participation rate is the ratio of labor force to working age population times 100 to convert into the percentage. So statistics about the US labor force. Here is the pie chart. The total population or working age population 16 year and older 234.6 million, employed 145 million, not in labor force 79.6 million, and unemployed people 10.1 million. The labor force is the sum of this green part and blue part, that is the employed plus unemployed. To understand these concepts, we include the numerical example. Here is the numerical example. BLS, that is Bureau of Labor Statistics, conducted a survey in 2008 and find the following statistics about the population of the country. Employed 145 million, unemployed 10.1 million, not in labor force 7.6. What we have to find? Estimate labor force. Number 2, unemployment rate. Number 3, labor force participation rate. Solution. By using the formulas given previous slides, we know that labor force is equal to employed plus unemployed. So employed is 145 plus 10.1 is equal to 155.1 million. So total labor force is the sum of employed plus unemployed, that is the 155.1 million. Unemployment rate. The formula for unemployment rate is equal to number of unemployed divided by labor force into 100. So number of unemployed 10.1 million divided by लेबर फोर्स, जो कि पिछली स्लाइड्स में हमने, इन प्रीवियस स्लाइड्स वी calculate labor force 155.1 million into 100 is equal to 6.5%. Unemployment rate is the 6.5%. Our next task, the labor force participation rate. The labor force participation rate is equal to labor force divided by working age population times 100, where the working age population is equal to labor force plus not in labor force. As we know that in previous slide we find the labor force. So labor force is equal to 155.1 plus not in labor force 79.6. The total working age population is the 234.7 million. Now we estimate the labor force participation rate. लेबर फोर्स कितनी है हमारे पास 155.1 डिवाइडेड बाय 234.7 वर्किंग एज पॉपुलेशन टाइम्स 100, दैट इज इक्वल टू 66.1%. दिस इज द लेबर फोर्स पार्टिसिपेशन रेट. In the last, here is the activity 1. Read carefully the case study and write the summary. मैंने ये केस स्टडी एक दिया हुआ है, यहाँ पर ये बुक रेफरेंस है मैक्रो इकोनॉमिक्स, इंटरमीडिएट मैक्रो इकोनॉमिक्स बाय मैनकेव की बुक में से मैंने ये केस स्टडी दिया है आप लोगों को, बल्कि ये लेक्चर भी मैनकेव इंटरमीडिएट मैक्रो इकोनॉमिक्स बाय मैनकेव की जो बुक है इंटरमीडिएट मैक्रो इकोनॉमिक्स, उसकी बेस पर है. इस केस स्टडी को आपने पढ़ना है और इसकी आपने समरी लिखनी है. समरी लिखने के बाद आपने इस समरी को वर्ड डॉक पे लिखना है, वर्ड डॉक्यूमेंट पे, ठीक है. उसको टाइप करना है. टाइप करने के बाद इसका साइज 12 लिखना है. राइटिंग साइज फॉन्ट साइज जो है वो 12 है. इंस्ट्रक्शन जो है उसमें वर्ड डॉक साइज 12 टाइम न्यू रोमन्स, और उसमें सेव एज करके आपने easyclass.com पे इसको अपलोड करना है. थैंक यू.